Israelite made it. The suckers gon' talk, the cowards gon' hate it. No matter what they say, I'ma go get it done. There's really no choice if you from where I'm from. Some people gon' be glad, others gon' be mad. You juicing off the hate and relapse, so you need rehab. I could show you things, all you see is the rings. Don't get blinded by ice, my brother. Pick a lane, learn a skill that'll get you very well paid. Investing in trades like a monopoly game. All you need is your brain and be willing to change. You'll have obstacles in life, but don't look at it strange. Adapt to your environments, get well-rounded. In the laws of the Most High, stay well-grounded. Things happen and life goes on. Let the haters hate while you stay strong.
Don't say I can't have it, 'cause that just makes me want it more. Number one status.
Number one.
I gotta do good every time before. Don't be mad at me when I get it.
Don't be mad, bro.
You gon' be mad at me when I get it done.
I'ma get it done.
Don't be mad.
Do what you need to do, there's the king in you. But if talent don't work, it won't be useful. I remember the times of free school lunch. Whatever we didn't eat, moms took it for our brunch. Pops was working hard, now I know how it feels to have extra. He used to bring us meals on wheels. If you know, you know. Free things was a major help. That's why anytime I get, I always try to help. Those who are in need, who know are sincere. It makes me feel good when they smiling from ear to ear. Let them be mad, I'm bearing my cross. All my failures was a lesson, never counted a loss. Edomites make way, cause they know I'm a boss. Sitting in the Lambo, while they sit in the porch. And they wondering how, so they try to converse. The ones that smile in your face are usually the worst.
Don't say I can't have it, 'cause that just makes me want it more. Number one status.
Number one.
I gotta do good every time before. Don't be mad at me when I get it.
Don't be mad, bro.
You gon' be mad at me when I get it done.
I'ma get it done.
Don't be mad.
With all my being, with all of my heart, I've got to bless you. Precious Lord, with my heart.
Post Katrina, I ain't have nowhere to live. Call my brother Smoke, he told me I could play the crib. He said he had a FEMA trailer and the place was his. And he had a plug on them pills, we could make it big. So I moved in it, kept a tool in it. Money started coming with the do with it. New Year came like a Yankee in a blue fitted. Spot hot, my man Smoke getting too loose with it. New faces coming in and out the trap. Whole time this the place we land, all our hairs at. City told me, Chef, you need to move, that's a fair trap. Come to the crib and shake back before they raid that. That's advice that you know I had to take. Packed all my bags, left the dope, but I kept it safe. Gave my life to the Most High and got amazing grace. Week later, feds kicked the door, but I missed the case. Amazing grace.
With my heart, I've got to bless you. Precious Lord, with my heart.
3 open cases sitting in that cell. Replaced the C with an H, I was sitting in hell. I went them up with no commissary, it crushed me. It made me feel like my family didn't love me. That's when I knew that street shit wasn't for me. It opened up my eyes, started searching for him above me. Had me ducking bullets when niggas was trying to slug me. I knew I had to change, cause shit was starting to get ugly. Opened up the Bible, started reading certain scripts. Couldn't understand before, now it's all making sense. Friends starting to look at me strange, I had to change the clip. All they wanna do is flash polls, but they ain't taking pics. Plus Philly all Muslim, so it's major hate. I hit the street, started to teach, trying to change their fate. Plus in that book of life, I'm trying to make some space. If I don't make it, all praise for his amazing grace. Amazing grace.
My heart, I've got to bless you. Precious Lord, with my
like a lot of people's arguments are like, okay, but in biblical times, they had, multiple wives. So why can't I have multiple wives?
Can you afford it?
Right, honestly.
So it's a practice for the wealthy.
Yeah,
I think so.
But because in biblical times, the people that had the multiple wives were wealthy.
Right.
So let's talk about the requirements. You just want to be regular Joe working a 9 to 5 that paid
at the bank,
bare minimum, not even at the bank.
You a teller at the bank.
Yeah, all right, now hold on. Now.
You can make a little money.
You're making some money now.
Not enough money for no 2 wives, baby.
You work right there at McDonald's. You're a manager at McDonald's, but you want 2 wives.
I mean, it depends on how long you've been there.
Don't they say work smarter, not harder?
What is it called? Wishful thought?
Wishful thinking.
Well, you know what? I feel like when people try to talk about what was going on in biblical times, I feel like they really be the ones that don't be reading the Bible, like for real.
Shalom, everybody. All praise to the Most High God. We here on this Friday. Happy Sabbath. And definitely, this is a controversial topic that people don't like to talk about. But it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing about the Bible should be controversial. Other than that, I'm going to land there. What you got, Debat?
I ain't got nothing, man. Just give all honor, glory, and praises to the Most High Yahweh, by will Yahweh Shai. Hey, all praises. We right back at it again. Another Sabbath here. Week went kind of quick, right? It's their wicked little holiday weekend. So, hey, got a 3-day weekend this week. So, hey, I got a little energy right now. So, but you can go ahead.
All right, come. So let me fix the screen real quick. All right, so, first and foremost, I brought the small video out, right? This is a topic that Israel like to stray away from. We don't like to talk about this, right? Especially when it comes to deal with women. And trust and believe, we love our women by all means. And this has nothing to do with bashing women. This has nothing to do with that. We're going to stick to the Bible and that's it. But we need to educate ourselves first and foremost, right? And I want to throw a disclaimer. LOY, Lions of Israel, we do not practice multiple wives. So I'm going to put that out there first and foremost. Again, we do not practice multiple wives. Let's clean that up first. Before we judge it, let's pay attention and hear what the word have to say about this. Because it's definitely a lot of controversial things when it talks about multiple wives. This is one thing that it pulls a lot of people hair out of their head. It's uncomfortable. But guess what? The scriptures, it supports it. Right? But let's educate ourselves before we even think about trying to go in and say, I want to have a wife because the Bible said it. The Bible says a lot of things according to the law. But it doesn't mean we can do it at some type of point. So let's start with this, right? So let me clean this up real quick. I got rid of this video. Let me get rid of this video. You know what? Let me play this video right here. Let me play this video. So let me do this one, right? So we're going to go straight to a video. Right? We're going to see what a brother says about it. We're just going to go straight to what a brother says about it. Hold on 1 second. Let me see where we at. Hold on. God is not pulling up on my thing. Just bear with me. Let me see.
You're not sharing your screen either, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to find that. I don't know why it's doing that. So let me just do this. I don't know why it's not pulling this video up, but I can see it that it wants to pull the other videos. It's not pulling this one. Oh, here we go. There we go.
You got a little feedback too, in the mic. Not
Got some
sure.
feedback.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. All right, let me play this video.
Polygyny categorically is not a sin. It could not be a sin. Why do you say that? First John, the 3rd chapter and the 4th verse lets us know what sin is. It tells us that sin is the breaking of God's law. It is lawlessness. So if polygyny somehow is sin, there must be at least one law, old or new covenant, that states or depicts that polygyny is a sin and it is not to be practiced. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you cannot find one scripture in the Bible that clearly states that polygyny is a sin. Every idea that has been communicated within this Western culture concerning polygyny somehow being a sin has been a stretch. Polygyny.
All right, so the brother was just breaking down. He was just saying that polygyny is not a sin. The Bible speaks about it in the law. You know that a man can have 2 wives. It speaks about it in the law. We'll get that out a little bit later, right? We're not going to go into that, right? But let's find out what polygyny means, right? Because we know about multiple wives in the Bible. It says 2 wives in the Bible. But what do polygyny mean in today's time? So let's look that up real quick. All right. Can you read that for me, Debak? You see it?
Let me blow my screen up. All right. This is from Oxford Languages, right? Polygyny.
And you're breaking up. Hey, Debak, I can't hear you. You like in and out.
No,
All right, now I hear you.
yeah, no, my computer for whatever reason said something about a strange site.
Okay.
I don't know what that was. Right. So it says polygamy, in which a man has more than one wife.
Right. Yeah. So that's what polygamy is, right? It just is in which a man has more than one wife, right? All right. So the Bible speaks about that, but we're going to get into that. But we just want to make it a point what polygyny is, right? So now we're going to go here. We got another thing where we say now polyandry. Let's look what that says, right? Tell me now. You know what? Before we even do that, no. I want this before we do this. I want to go to. Let me stop. Let me just pull in this one. Let's find out what polyandry means. All right, we're gonna find out what polyandry means. Right. All right. So let me share this. All right, read that for me.
All right. This is polyandry. Polygamy in which a woman has more than one husband.
I brought that out because sometimes in the Israelite community, you have some women believe that why they can't do it either. You know what I'm saying? Why we can't have what y'all have, right? Why we can't have multiple husbands? Because it's not written in the law. And we want to know where do that stems from? Where does the polyandry come from, right? So let's go into the background why you can't do it, right? So let's go to polyandry. Read this right here, the AI overview.
All right. This is the AI overview of polyandry, right? Can you move that cursor? Okay. All right. It says Draupadi, the polyandrous heroine of the ancient Hindu epic Mahabharata, is worshipped as a village goddess known as. Nick, can you move the arrow? It's lucky. Or that's my arrow. My bad.
Yeah, that's yours. I'm gonna say mine on the bottom.
All right. It says known as Draupadi Aman, particularly in parts of southern India. Her character is also associated with the primordial goddess Shakti and the goddess Kali.
So that's the reason why, because this is a woman worshiping thing. And we know that God is not about idolatry. So when the women were doing it, they were doing it for goddesses, right? So we're going to show a video where America has pushed this thing and made it seem like this is okay and normal, right? So let me play this video right here.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. Thank you for joining us for the second half of The Factor tonight. We're diving into the very fascinating world of polyamory, which we've done here before on The Factor. You may have seen a lot of relationships where men have had multiple women on their arms. My next guests are flipping the switch a bit. Now, Kenya K. Stevens is at the center of her relationship. You're looking at him there. Family portrait. Look at God.
Listen, that brother said, look at God. Look at God. Show me what God said that was okay in the Bible. Because the only time when we want to talk about a woman had multiple husbands, that was in the book, if I'm not mistaken, John. To be either Luke or John, right? When the woman at the well, and Yahweh Shai said you had 5 husbands, meaning that she was sleeping with 5 different men. And and she had to repent from that thing. So now you got this woman right here that's saying it's okay to have 2 husbands. And the newscaster said, look at God. This is how we know that our people are destroyed of a lack of knowledge. Let's continue that.
She's married to 2 men, Tiger and Carl, and they will be sharing part of their lives on TLC's new series, Seeking Brother Husband. They join me now in the studio, and of course, the premiere will be this Sunday. So explain to me what's going on here. Obviously, these 2 ain't getting together. It's just you and you, and that's it.
Yes, they call this a poly V. So I'm in the center, and I'm with my husband, Carl. We've been together almost 30 years. And my husband, Tiger, and I have been together almost 10 years.
Why she's in the middle? Because she's controlling this whole relationship. All right, let's continue.
So when you say husband, though, is that allowed? Is that allowed under the law? Or are you talking about spiritual husband one, legal husband the other?
Yes.
How does that work?
This is my legal husband, and we added this husband by having a spiritual connection ceremony.
Okay.
How does that make sense? Because last time I remember, the Bible says the law is spiritual. This is not spiritual at all. This has nothing to do with God's spirit upon us. How are you going to have a legal husband and a spiritual husband? This is confusing. Yeah. All right, okay, same.
And so how did you guys come to this situation?
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of complicated, but we had genuine feelings for other people, and Kenya and I talked about it, like, hey, I'm feeling some feelings of love for someone. She had the same thing. We talked about it. We said, well, why don't we actually explore this and see where it leads? And that's how we got into it.
Yeah.
And how did you open your mind, though, as a husband, as a man, to that?
Yeah, at first I was close to it. So when she brought to me that she wanted to date other men and that she should be able to do
but
that.
she didn't say, I want to leave you.
No,
she
no,
just
no.
said, I want to date other men.
Just wanted to date. And at first I was close to that because I had never really heard like a married woman dating multiple men. Like, where does that come from? I've heard of polygyny. One man, many women.
Yeah, but he wanted to have other women. He had said that when we first got married. Mm-hmm. So I knew that was one of his goals. And when it started to happen at year 12 of our marriage, I said, well, I would like to get in on that too, because I think it's just fair is fair.
So year 12, what happened specifically? So
well, he came home. Yeah, he came home from work and just told me how he was having feelings for a woman at his job. And he was traveling a lot and they were traveling together. And so he just was honest about his work wife.
And how do you bring that kind of honesty home?
We just talked about everything. I mean, when she had feelings for someone else, she brought it to me. We talked to our marriage counselors about it. Like we were surprised in monogamy that you actually had feelings for other people after marriage. We didn't know that you that you could fall in love or have attractions outside of marriage.
Right.
So it was a surprise to us. We were kind of innocent or naive, I guess.
And let's bring this guy into it. Go ahead.
Well, I met Tiger about 10 years ago. He was dressed as Tiger.
Oh, Salakia, sorry about the. Forgot about that. Sorry for the background. I apologize on that. But I'm gonna stop it while I can right now, just in case it get real dirty. But other than that, we heard what was going on. The brother wasn't cool with it at first, and then he ended up engaging in seeing another woman at work and said that was his wife at work, and then it made her throw her antenna, say, "Hey, I could do it too." But just to know that she took matter of the whole control and said, "I'm going to do it," and she brought the man on the side with the blue shirt on relationship. And this is what we call that we don't do because that's not written in the law, right? We dismiss this thing because there's nowhere in the Bible where you can see that and find that, right? This is something that God says. Give me Deuteronomy 23 real quick. Give me Deuteronomy 23 because we're going to make sure we clear that up. We want to clear that up and make sure it brings out what the law says about it, right? So we're going to go to, no, it's in 23, but might be 17, is it? Yeah. Give me verse 17.
All right. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
Just stop right there. Read that again.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
Why it says that? Because when a woman sleeps with another man that's already connected with the man, this is called whoredom. This is a woman walking around as a whore. You only supposed to have one husband. Just that simple. You won't find it in the law that the woman can have multiple husbands. So the Bible says in the law there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Right? Jump to 18. No, you know what? Don't even read that. Don't even read that. I just wanted that. Just leave it in. Right? So now we know that this is not what God ordained. But let's talk about being destroyed of what it used to be, right? So let's go into this article right here, right? This is called the Manifesto and the end of plural marriage, right? So I'm going to read this real quick. The Manifesto, right? We're going to find out what that is. Like, how is the Manifesto plays a part in today, right? So let's talk about the plural of multiple wives, right? So let's start here. It says, for much of the 19th century, a significant number of members of the Church of Yahweh Mashiach Yahweh of Latter-day Saints practice plural marriage, the marriage of one man to more than one woman. The beginning and end of the practice were directed by revelation through God's prophets. The initial command to practice plural marriage came through Joseph Smith, the founding prophet and president of the church. You know that he wasn't a prophet, so let's clear that up. In 1890, President Wilford Woodruff issued the Manifesto, which led to the end of plural marriage in the church. The end of plural marriage required great faith and sometimes complicated, painful, and intensely personal decisions on the part of individual members and church leaders. Like the beginning of plural marriage in the church, the end of the practice was a process rather than a single event. Revelation came line upon line, precept upon precept, right? So now let's go into these laws of it, right? Let me start in here. This paragraph right here. In the face of these measures, Latter-day Saints maintained the plural marriage was a religious principle protected under the U.S. Constitution. The church mounted a vigorous legal defense all the way of the U.S. Supreme Court. In Reynolds v. United States, 1879, the Supreme Court ruled against the Latter-day Saints. Religious belief was protected by law, religious practice was not. According to the court's opinion, marriage was a civil contract regulated by the state. Monogamy was the only form of marriage sanctioned by the state. So, in this manifesto letter, what was happening is these were people that had their own opinion saying, no, we don't do polygamy. There's no such thing as multiple marriage because we are offended. So therefore, they changed it and say, we're going to make it a monogamy only. right? This is how it started to begin to separate those ideas of the days of multiple wives, right? So let me continue. Polygamy, the court explained, has always been odious among the northern and western nations of Europe. This is called a Western mindset. This is where a lot of our people formed the Western mindset. The mindset of I'm against multiple wives. I'm against that because that right there is a sin from God, and I don't believe in that. And there's no sin in that because the Bible doesn't say, thou shalt not take on another wife, right? Doesn't say that. So it says the court explained has always been odious among the northern and western nations of Europe. So the European had an idea to change this thing. They didn't want this to continue. Why? Because you have to understand, if we stayed in that, then we continue to multiply and prune the whole earth. We starts to grow. This is really for a fact that we don't get into that. That's what this is all this was. That Israel turned away from the laws. Remember when we read Psalms 83, it says, so we can forget who they are as Israel, that we won't have no more names to remember. Right? We're going to forget our culture. We're going to forget who we are and what we were doing. And I'm not saying that you had to have a second wife. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that it was nothing wrong if a man that was set up financially correct, it wasn't nothing wrong and wasn't frowned upon him having a second wife. This is what the Europeans didn't want because this helps us not to continue to create and fill up the earth. All right, so Latter-day Saints sincerely desire to be loyal citizens of the United States, which they consider a divinely founded nation, but they also accepted plural marriage as a commandment from God. So they even knew that this is the so-called Jewish man that was keeping this, right? They knew about it was written in the Bible. This was commanded by God. Now, it's not commanded that God said you have to have it. It's just state that it was nothing wrong with it. And it says, and believe the court was unjustly depriving them of their right to follow God's commandments. And this is exactly what America continues to do. So we don't continue to follow it. So we're going to put that in the woman's head. So she believes that that's nonsense. You're less of a wife. You're less of a woman. He don't want you. He looks at you like you a piece of crap and you're not worth anything. This is one of the reasons why they say that Israelites does bash women. Because they say because we believe in multiple marriages. So they say, oh, that's wrong. You guys don't love your first wife. You mess around, give her this, and then you go to the second wife. It's like they're making it sound like what we do is we dog them and then we moved on. That's how we are setting it up right now. Because we got a lot of music that goes around and showing us that the women that we are with, we are called hoes. So we don't call them wives, we call them hoes. So the outside of the people that don't keep the law, they're disrespecting the commandment of God of how to pertain and keep a marriage together with multiple wives. Now we got it into a cool way and call it now we're pimps. And guess what? By us advertising that thing, that makes the women feel less of a woman. And she should feel less of a woman because this was not ordained of God to make it look like that. We turn this thing into an evil thing. And that's why our sisters don't even want to hear about these multiple wives things, nor either hear a comment about it because it's no discussion. When they see the mess that we promote on TV, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to see that because you already made it look like you don't think I'm beautiful enough. I'm not good enough. And God never made it that way. It was a beautiful thing at one period of time. And it's still beautiful. It's just that we made it ugly because we have a Western mindset. We allowed the nations to say that this law that God said a man can do, it becomes ugly. And women want to stay away from that. We're going to go why it's important at that time, why we did the multiple wives. We got to educate ourselves before we throw in the towel and say, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to talk about this. This has really irked my spirit. No, we got to talk about that so it don't irk our spirit. Why did God create it that way? Right? Let me continue. I'm going to read down here. Between 1850 and 1896, Utah was a territory of the U.S. government, which meant that federal officials in Washington, D.C. exercised great control over local matters. In 1882, the U.S. Congress passed the Edmunds Act, which made unlawful cohabitation interpreted as a man living with more than one wife, punishable by 6 months of imprisonment and a fine for $300. So you got at the time you were, even now, it's illegal to have another wife according to the state of the United States of America. So now they even said if you do that, you can go to jail for that, right? So they're making God's law corruptible, while it's really incorruptible because they stole our understanding how it was really developed. So now it becomes a punishment, right? I'm gonna skip here. Now let's go into here. I want to go straight to how this comes in the manifesto. This is the manifesto, right? Let's understand what this is. After 2 decades of seeking either to negotiate a change in the law or avoid its disastrous consequences, church leaders began to investigate alternative responses. In 1885 and 1886, they established settlements in Mexico and Canada outside the jurisdiction of U.S. law, where polygamous families could live peaceably, hoping that a moderation in their position would lead to a reduction in hostilities. Church leaders advised plural husbands to live openly with only one of their wives and advocated that plural marriage not be taught publicly. In 1889, church authorities prohibited the performance of new plural marriages in Utah, right? Because this is what the manifesto thing did, right? Let's continue, right? So let me go right here. I'm going to read from right here. Let me start here. Church leaders prayerfully sought guidance from the Lord and struggled to understand what they should do. Both President John Taylor and President Woodford Woodruff felt the Lord directing them to say the course and not renounce plural marriage. So you know this is a lie. So this is a so-called president said that God has told them that is we shouldn't do plural marriage. This is how you know that they're lying. It's the same thing, that same spirit that they broke back in the 1800s is still flourishing in today's day in 2025. That our women and the men have a problem looking at how multiple wives was really set up and developed. It's not a bad thing, right? Let's continue. This inspiration came when paths for legal redress were still open. The last of the paths closed in May 1890 when the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of the Edmunds-Tucker Act, allowing the confiscation of church property to proceed. President Woodruff saw that the church temples and its ordinance were now at risk. Burdened by this threat, he prayed intensely over the matter. The Lord showed me by vision and revelation. He later said exactly what would take place if we did not stop this practice, referring to plural marriage. All the temples will go out of our hands. God has told me exactly what to do and what the result would be if we did not do it. So these were all lies of a threat to say, hey, don't do it. Why? Because you know the black man gonna want to do it. That's what it really stems down to. They're gonna tell them that, but guess what? The black man want to continue to do it because their laws is always based around us, so we don't follow in and do what everybody's doing, right? Because we're the trailblazers. We're following what everybody's doing. So therefore, if we continue, we're going to continue to be multiplied. So that's the manifesto. I'm not going to read this whole thing, right? The manifesto is what this is talking about, where they changed it and said we're making rule, because the manifesto is nothing but a rule, a law that someone's opinion feels was right or wrong. That's all it is. So we're going to get out of that. So where do we get this from, right? A Western mindset, right? This is a Western mindset, right? So let me pull that up again. Debak, read this for me right here. I want the Western mindset. Read this. Where this Western mindset? What is a Western mindset?
All right, it's the AI overview. All right. A Western mindset is characterized by individualism, rationalism, and linear thinking, emphasizing logical deduction, objective analysis, and a focus on individual freedom and autonomy.
Right. So this is all about someone's opinion. The Western mindset is about someone's opinion, and it didn't stem from our opinion. Continue.
All stemming from the legacy of Greek philosophy and
What?
Roman law.
Say that again.
All stemming from the legacy of Greek philosophy and Roman law. This contrasts with many Eastern philosophies that prioritize collectivism, contextual understanding, and relational perspectives.
Right. So read the democracy. Hold on. Read the secularism down here on the bottom.
All right. It says a tendency to separate.
Salaki. We want to know what the key characteristics of a Western mindset, right? So let's read what's the characteristics. Go ahead.
All right.
A tendency. Start at secularism.
A tendency to separate religious and spiritual matters from public and governmental life.
That's a manifesto thing, right? The manifesto is the Western mindset. That's where we develop having those thoughts of is wrong to have a second wife. That's the Western mindset where we develop. This is why, if you look in today's day, that's why it's not easy to do, because the mindsets are not right. We have to take charge and know that, hey, is it a sin to have a second wife? No, it's not. But have an understanding knowing that the mindset is not there. The mindsets are not there to promote it, to say this is how a great thing is. Now, when we do it, and we do it indecently, in order, I have no problem with another man with another wife, because it's written in the law. Now, for myself, will I go and do something like that? I say no. But I'm not going to say that, hey, brothers and sisters, it's wrong for a brother to take on a second wife. Hey, all I would say, more power to you, brother. And I hope that you have the means to take care of those wives. Because we can't play the game of saying we want it, but we don't have the money to take care of them. We have to make it all make sense and order. So, but what we need to stop saying that is wrong for a man to say that is nothing wrong with multiple wives. That's what I'm trying to block off. Is nothing wrong with that. We can have a discussion all day talking about it, because we've been strongly destroyed by the Europeans to say it's wrong. What's wrong is when a woman says, why I can't do that too? Why? Because we just brought it out that it's come from a goddess. It's idolatry. And God never ordained you to be over a man. It never was set up that way, right? But let's go into the difference of the mindsets, right? This is the Greek mindsets, and this is the Hebrew mindsets. Let's look at this, right? I want you to read this, Debak. We're going to go through why we think the way we think. Let's see who changed our mind. Start off with the left side.
All right. It says the difference in the mindset of our spiritual ancestors and the modern mindset.
The spiritual ancestors, so Israelites, This is our ancestors, what they thought. Now the modern mindset, we're thinking like the other nations. Let's go ahead.
All
Start
right.
on the
So
left side.
with the Greek, how can God serve me?
What? Hold on. Ain't that what the women say today? How come I can't do that? How come I can't be in charge? Why you always gotta be the one? Right? I'm not saying all women are saying that. I'm just saying what we see today in today's economy. We look around us, we see exactly why the woman wants to be over the man and why she has to have multiple men also. Right? This is what we learned it from the Greeks. Go ahead.
Greek mindset is me centered.
It means it's all about me. Right? Continue.
Actions are a result of feelings.
Is what?
Actions are a result of feelings.
Right? Those are the emotional side. Right? I feel I should be able to do it too. Go ahead.
Thoughts and personal choices of how this will affect them.
I feel like you're going to hurt my feelings and you don't love me anymore if you do that. So I don't even want to have a discussion. Hey, man, a man could just say, like, hey, man, the Bible says multiple wives. The woman is snap. What you mean? You want another woman? I didn't say that. I didn't say I want another woman. I'm just saying, hey, you overheard me talking to something like that, and I'm on the phone and we talking about the Bible, and you just heard, yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it in the Bible, and you off rip say, boom. Why? Because that's a Greek mindset. That's the Western mindset. We have to change our mindset back to our ancestor mindset. That's what we got the Bible, right? We got to think different. We can't act like them. Because guess what? They doing it. These other nations, these Greeks and them, they're really doing it. They just don't want us doing it. Because it builds more war army for them than for us. That's why they continue to do it. They want to make sure they overpopulate us. But we, on the other end, we don't think like that. We thinking like, nope. I don't need no another woman in my house looking at me as I'm the second woman. And I've been here first. That's the messed up part. We got to understand, if it's done decently in order, then we have to do it the proper way. Because when the brothers don't have it in order, guess what? You understand why the sisters act like that. When the man trying to be sneaky, trying to go behind his wife back and talking to a woman behind his back, not having no kind of converse with his wife, that's a man of coward. He's a coward because he don't want to speak to his wife and say, this is what I've been doing. And I want to have another woman in our relationship. Because he know his wife going to say, hell no. So you're going to do it on a sneaky tip. So if you respect your wife so much, then you need to have that open conversation. And if she don't want it, you want to respect her feelings. Respect her feelings and know so you can have a peaceful home. But brothers want to go out there because they thinking about poking everything. I want to poke this woman, and I think about this having multiple wives. At least I'm not sinning. I kept the commandment. I just didn't tell you. But then guess what? You got chaos in your home because you don't want to be a man enough. So when we say we are men, we do everything what the Most High tells us to do. When we want to be a man, we got to do Matthew 18. We want to tell our people, whether it's our wife or what or not, have that conversation. Let me talk to you what's been going on in my mind. Have that conversation. And if she's saying that she don't want it, then stay away from it. But if she says that, hey, if this was what you want to do, then you better come with a good game plan, because what looks peaches and cream, it don't taste like peaches and cream all the time. Right? Continue. Read the Feel, Think, Choice Act.
All right. The thought process is to feel, think, choice, and then act. First, convince me emotionally as I am led by my feelings.
I ain't going to that. Just go.
I am.
Go ahead.
Because, hey, and again, we know, hey, it is some men out here that does this, right? But for the majority, it's mainly women. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Don't give me no Bible scriptures. I want to know why this makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't want to hear the Bible. That was the old days. It don't matter. The Old Testament is done away with. Whatever they want, whatever they want to say, right? Because everybody, I hear people say all the time that, women, women use emotional. They're driven by emotion, right? Well, some men, like men, have emotion too. It's just not driven by it, right? The same things that women be thinking, men think it, but they don't act on it. They don't always voice it. They just sit back. Why? Because we're more logical, right? But this is it's probably a woman wrote this article, man. But I'm gonna keep going. All right. So secondly, it says, prove it to me until my own logic is satisfied.
Right. That's my own thinking, the way I want it to sound. Right. Continue.
Thirdly, after I'm convinced, then I will act as long as it continues to feel good or benefits me.
And that's not how we're supposed to move, right? We're not supposed to move that way. Now go on the Hebrew side, right? Let's make the logical, the spiritual thing make sense.
All right. This is how can I serve God? Hebrew mindset is God-centered. Actions are a result of faith in the Father and choosing to follow him.
Right. That's what it is. We got to have the mindset of trust in the Lord. So when the Most High said that it was okay to do that, we have to trust in the Lord and have faith in it. Not put our own opinion in it and say that's not what God's meant to say. That's not what God wanted to say. No, we got to not have that mindset. We got to have faith that God knows best. Continue.
Says the thought process is faith, choice, act, and then feelings. All right. First, I study Yahweh's word and make a choice to put my faith and trust in him. Secondly, I choose to learn his ways and walk in them. Thirdly, as I continue to grow spiritually and follow him, he helps me to understand the wisdom of his ways. Lastly, I experience his blessing, and as a result, there is abiding joy in my life.
Right. When you understand the laws of God, it should be joy in your life, right? Give me Psalms 19 and 7. Give me Psalms 19 and 7. Right?
All right. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 19, starting at verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect.
Isn't it? Oh, hold on. It has some imperfection in it. It says what?
The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
So when we stick to the laws of God, it makes us wise. When we stick to the Greek Western mindset, it makes us simple. Because now we become against what God said was good. We turn that good and say it's bad. So we have to understand the law that God put in is perfect, right? So now let's go do this, right? So now give me 1 Corinthians, right? 14. I forgot the name of that. What is it? 14. I think it's 14:39, I think. Do everything decently in order, 13 to 14 to 41 and
14:40.
Right? So before we do anything, right? That's because we're going to go into the order. If you want to talk about you want to get another wife, let's do things decently in order. Go ahead.
All right, it's the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 40. Let all things be done decently and in order.
Everything needs to be done decently in order. So if you want a second wife, have that conversation with your wife. That's done decent. That's the first thing that needs to be done decently in order, not hiding behind her back. All right, so let's go.
Real quick, slight correction. Pray to the Most High first.
Come. Absolutely.
I know you including that. I know you ain't said, but I just want to, just because it's a lesson, we got to put that out there like that, right? Pray to the Most High first. Have that conversation with your significant other.
Come. Absolutely.
And pray together on it.
Come. Absolutely. right? Because two or more coming together, the Most High is in the midst, right? So now we got one thing: do things decently in order. So now, what's the decently in order, right? So let's start off with the chapter of Genesis 2, right? Let's go to Genesis 2. Go to Genesis 2. Let's do things in decently in order, right? Because if a man say he wants to do this, then you gotta have some order in it, right? So let's start at verse 15. I want 15 through 21, because we gotta do things properly. If a man say he wants to do this, then do this properly, right? Go ahead.
All right. The book of Genesis, chapter 2, starting at verse 15. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Right. So the Most High put him in authority of a land, right? So first and foremost, a man that say he wants to have another wife, he needs to know how to build authority. He got to know how to lead before he thinks that he wants to have a second wife. If you can't lead your first wife, what makes you think you need a second wife? What makes you think that's going to change the game if you get a second wife? First and foremost, you need to know how to lead, and you need to have a job. Simple as that. That's rule number one. Learn how to lead and then have a job. And I'm not talking about a small job when whatever you feel that you can afford to do, because you can't count people's pockets. Whatever a small job is to you or whatever a big job is to you. If you have enough to take care of those means, who am I to say you shouldn't do that? Because a man, we should not be counting other men's pockets. We don't know what men bringing in. Just because a man work at McDonald's doesn't mean that he got stocks, that he don't have stocks sitting in the account. He just don't want to work too hard. We don't know. We can't count people's pockets. But understand, the man at least have to have enough money to support it. All right, go to 16.
Verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every green tree, Salakia, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him.
Right. So understand that, right? All right. So when we look at this text, right? In this text, we see everything singular. I'm going to make him a helpmeet for him, right? So it makes what he's stating that he's going to make him a wife, right? He's going to make Adam a wife. Now, understand this. Adam, before God gave him a wife, God gave him a position. See, men want to be with a wife, but have no position, right? He's not even fit in the position to have a wife, a second wife, or even a first wife. You got to be in position. A lot of us go by because we horny all the time, want to poke everything just because it's there. Oh man, do things decently in order so you don't have these issues. Get to know the woman before you go ahead and lay with the woman. That's what we do today. We lay with the woman, then we try to get to know the woman. And then when she becomes pregnant, now we don't want to deal with the woman. No, that's not how that works, because that's off. That's why you have baby mamas and baby daddies, because it's not done decently in order, right? So you gotta have a job to take care of a one wife to even be successful with that marriage or semi-successful. You gotta have at least a job. You can't go in and thinking that you want to have a wife and you don't even have a job. That don't work like that. And you don't even have a house. So you got to make sure when you do have these things and you want it, you got to make sure you have a job. You got to make sure you have a house so she can lay her head in, so she can feel protected, so she can be secured. You can't be having, I want a second wife, but you still living with your mom and dad. You and your wife can't even pay the first bills that y'all live in, and you want a second wife thinking that's going to help the situation? No, that's backwards. That's why we have to be careful when we say we want these things, because we have to understand these things before we say we want these things, right? Continue in verse 19.
All right. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he should call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof.
Right. So Adam had this simple job to name the creatures. That was Adam's job. So before he gave him a wife, God gave him a job so he can have control of everything, right? Because if a man don't have a job, he has no control over his own home, right? So that's important. First leadership role is a man that leads to wants to go to work and provide. That's a sign of leadership. She don't have to wake him up and say, go to work. He goes out there because he know he has to secure his foundation, right? So now, read 22. Just jump down to 22.
Jump down to 22, Con. All right, so verse 22. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man.
23.
And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
24.
Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
They shall be one flesh. So let me understand this, right? So what does it mean? Because when we read this, we just look at it as it's only one and two people. That's it. That means there's no second people involved, or third or fourth, right? Understand with this one flesh, it means one mindset. So no matter what, if you have one wife and you decide to marry her, she becomes one flesh. If you have a second wife and you marry her, you become one flesh. This doesn't mean that it's just stating that God ordained it to only be one wife and one man. He's just putting it in the direction what a husband and wife really is. So no matter if you have one wife, she becomes one flesh of you. Why? Because when we enter into a woman, we become, and when the man release, he's letting out his life into her. His life going into her. And so what's life? Spirit. So same thing when he sleeps with another woman that he's claiming to be his wife, that becomes his second wife. They become one flesh, one mindset, and one spirit. Even though in this context, he's only speaking about Adam and Eve. But understand, one flesh and a wife and a man, it doesn't mean that this doesn't pertain that God only meant and ordained it to be one man and one woman. Because we can go further and find that, right? So now, let's prove some things, right? Give me Genesis 4. Give me Genesis 4:19. Right? Let's find out. Let's go in Genesis 4:19 and start at 22. Let's see what one of our forefathers did, right?
All right. You want to start at 22 or 19?
Start at
19.
Yeah, 19.
All right. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 19. And Lamech took him 2 wives.
He did what?
He took unto him 2 wives.
Uh-huh.
The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other Zillah.
All right. And now you go to 23.
All right, jumping down to 23.
Oh, no, Salaki, read the children. Go ahead.
All right. And Adah bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle.
Uh-huh.
And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ.
Uh-huh.
And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer, and brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah.
Read 23.
And Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt.
I just want him right there. I just wanted to hear the discussion that he was talking to two of his wives. And we're going to understand, like, we don't know what Lamech was going through with his wives, right? Because the Bible doesn't speak on it. Understand that in circumstances, right? Why men had two wives at that time. And doesn't mean this was his circumstance. I'm just putting out there for an example. One, let's just say Adah, right? He had a baby with, Adah. They buried Jabal. Now let's just say Adah couldn't even have no more children, right? Let's just say her uterus was weak, webby, couldn't hold a child. So therefore, maybe Lamech was like, I wanted to have more than one child, right? So therefore, he picked up another wife, right? Zilha, right? So she buried Jabal, and then he also had a brother named Jubal, right? These were the two kids. Maybe she couldn't bear no more children. So then Zilha comes around. Zilha, she had bare Tubal-Cain and instructing the Artificer. So she only had one child. Maybe he wanted to have 3 children. And I'm not saying this is true, but maybe that's what he wanted. 3 children. But his one wife couldn't bear 3 children. So he took on another wife. Because all that was doing at that time was to build legacy. So the legacy to continue on with Israel. This is why God ordained it, for a legacy to continue. And it was to be multiplying on the earth so we can make a broadening thing of we can continue to grow as an inheritance. Let the bloodline continue to grow, right? It was always a certain case, right? And then some of them were maybe, just wanted to have a second wife because they can. But understand, the order that we need to think of as today's time, if you're going to do that, good luck with that. Because the women are now thinking in the Western mindset. They're not with that. But if your wife is with that, make sure you keep the order. Have a job, be a strong leader, and have that conversation with the Most High in her. Because then everything can work in your favor. But when you make one little slip up, that's when chaos. Because everything, like the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 14:40, let everything be done decently in order, right? So I just wanted to bring out Lamech had 2 wives, right? So now we're about to read. Let's go to Genesis 29, right? So this is something where it was out of order. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me do this real quick. I'm going to show this video real quick. Let's go on a commercial, then I'm going to show this video. Before we go there. All right, so we're going to look at this video right here. This is Esau, right? Because, we take favor with Esau, what he does, and we have to understand how this operates, right? So let's do this. Let's see what Esau says about this, right? Because if I'm saying it, you may not agree with me. But let's watch what he does. He has 5 wives, but we're going to point out what's wrong with this.
Polygamous family so controversial that even other polygamists disapprove of them. Brady Williams and his 5 wives and 24 children are letting in the cameras in ways you've never seen.
He has 5 wives and 24 children. Hey, a lot of us will look at it like, that's too many kids. No, you taking our custom. You took our custom that what we should be doing. But since we believe the lie in y'all and told us we can't do it, but then y'all end up doing it. That's the problem with that, Israel. Right? Don't fall into the trap. Let me continue.
Before, and ABC's Cecilia Vega traveled to Utah to meet this very large, very unusual family.
6 a.m. It's a normal start to the day in the Williams household. Husband Brady gives his wife Polly a kiss on the cheek. A few rooms over, a quick cuddle with wife Rhonda. Then a smooch for Robin, another for Rosemary, and finally, wife number 5, Nani.
Hey, everybody! Hey, I would say only thing I see in order is that it looks like he has the means to take care of that. He has different properties on the same land where he goes and see different wives, right? Now, one thing I would say about the one scene I would say will probably call controversial unless he has a law in his house, how he does it. I probably wouldn't be taking my time sleeping in the bedroom with one woman. I'll probably have to have my own bed, my own room, just to eliminate the piece.
And that's, again, when you...
eliminate the problem.
Kind of, when you look at the breakdown of a house or even a blueprint, and that's why it literally says master bedroom.
Ah,
I'm saying, it don't mean that the woman never slept in there, but it was always the man's literal bedroom. And then all the other bedrooms of the house, you know what I'm saying, will belong to the woman or women and children.
God. And when you go into the Bible, when you read about the book of Esther, what did he have? He had his own separate place where Esther couldn't come in unless he told her to come, right? It was set up like that, right? But that's the way I say he has something in order. Let me continue.
Welcome inside the world of Brady Williams, a polygamist unlike any you have ever met.
I really consider myself a feminist.
There it is. There it is. Let me rewind that. Let's hear that again.
Ever met.
I really consider myself a feminist.
The Bible said there would be no feminine in the kingdom. So guess what? This is off. You know why it works for him? Because all 5 of them are controlling him. They're controlling it because you just said it. I consider myself as a feminist. So that means that you lower your manlyhood to cater to their needs instead of you being the man. So black men, if you want to have a multiple wives, don't think like him because you're gonna be run to the floor. You give a woman a little bit of power, boy, she is going to run with a touchdown all the way. She gonna Randy Moss you all day.
Nah, hey, she gonna Forrest Gump you when he kept running up the stadium.
God. Right? Let me continue with this.
There is no way the 5 women sitting here are equal to the one man of this house.
Certainly, polygamy has been patriarchal, right? The man is in charge. But I like to think that we've evolved and are still evolving.
See, these people don't keep the laws of God. That's why we don't do that. Don't follow that. You got to be a whip in order to make this work. That's what he's telling you. Right? Let me continue.
What you thought you knew about polygamy? Think again. This family is so out there, they're even shunned by regular polygamists. The Williamses used to be fundamentalist Mormons, but not anymore.
Dad's gonna go get dinner. Everybody.
Now they are pro-gay marriage. They have an occasional drink.
Oh my God. Did he say pro-gay marriage?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm talking about. And you never learn from your enemies. That's the way they think. But then they'll tell you, though, you can't do it. It's illegal. But they mess around doing this, right? This is crazy. I'm going to stop it right there. I just wanted to show that. To show you that he has 24 kids, 5 wives, and he's a feminist. But no, that's not beauty. That's an ugly thing. Because guess what? I look at multiple wives as a beautiful thing. It's really about helping one another. When you do it and you have the means and you have everything in order, it becomes beautiful. God designed for that. It's beautiful. If you really think about right now, it can help take away a lot of the pressure on the women today. If it's done properly in order. If you send your man, well, let's say this. If the man decides to say, hey, I'm thinking about going this direction and I want to bring another wife in. I would tell the brother, if he was going to follow these rules, and you did the right thing to let her know, you also have to let her meet that woman. Before you think about laying down with that woman, let her meet that woman. And if you see that they're not getting along, you better cut it short. Don't follow in and just be like, man, she's just cold. I got to keep her, though. I know they're not getting along, but I'm going to figure it out. No, you ain't figuring that out. You're going to figure a new headache. That's what you're going to figure out. So you got to think about that. You need to make sure she's involved and not be in the same room. Oh, I let they sleep in the same room. No, off. They need to have separate quarters. They need to maybe even have a separate home. So if you got the means, make sure you can be able to take care of that. But if you got the means, if you want to keep in the closed quarters in a home, that's you. You can do it that way you want to do it, but you want to make sure you do it decently in order. They shouldn't be in the same room with you. They shouldn't be laying in the same bed with you. They should have their own room. They should be able to be freely to go and not create a headache for you or whatever. You should be able to know how to manage it. Because if you don't know how to manage it, then it's gonna fall. It takes you to fix it. And I would say to go even further, before you make that decision, talk to your elders and your leaders so they can give you that information before you make that big irrational decision. And if you and now they'll pick it out for you. They can hear you by your conversation. You ain't ready, brother. You ain't ready. Listen to you. I ask these simple questions. You can't even figure that out. So no, brother, don't do it. If you're not secure in yourself and financially secure, don't do it because you're upset of her. So you say, I'm gonna keep her because she be pissing me off, but I'm gonna go get another woman because I need something different. I need to change it up a little bit. That's off too. Because that's chaos ready to happen. We got to show our wives that we love them and we appreciate them. Because you get that second wife, you got to do the same thing. Right? Let me stop that one. Right? We're going to stop that one. All right. So now let's go to Genesis 29. Right?
Hey, before you go there, can you grab 1 Peter 3? All right. Because I wanna just pull this real quick, just because I just seen the comment, Sister Rose, put in there, right? So
hold on 1 second.
Right here.
1 Peter 3.
1 Peter 3. So I just wanted to show this comment real quick, right? Because you definitely hear some brothers actually say this, right? They tell their wives like it's none of your business, right? Now, is that brother in sin? Right? It may be off, but the brother won't technically be in sin, right? Not technically. But again, you want to be wise. Right? You have to be wise and you have to know how to deal with your woman, right? So verse 7.
Oh, verse 7. I thought you wanted one. Okay. Verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
According to what?
According to knowledge.
We have to dwell with them according to knowledge. And if we're going to be knowledgeable in anything, again, yes, communication should be had. Right? You shouldn't be in your house ruling with an iron fist. Right? Shut up, you do what I say. No, that's not how it works. Right? Your woman ain't a punching bag. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about literally, I'm just talking about on a spiritual level. She ain't a punching bag. She don't just have to take what you say and just listen to you without no explanation or anything like that. No, you have to dwell with them according to knowledge. Know what their weak points are. You know what I'm saying? Dwelling with them that way, right? Go ahead.
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
So, because your prayer is going to be hindered. You sit there and say, I ain't got to tell you nothing, right? I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Hey, I said this is going to be my wife, regardless of how you feel or whatever the case is. This is what it's going to be, right? So, give me one more. Give me 1 Timothy chapter 3. And then I'm going to give it right back to you. 1 Timothy chapter 3, start at verse 4.
I'm gonna take this out off my because I had this on here, so you got this
one. Oh, come.
1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 4. One that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity.
Mm-hmm.
For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
Right. So how can we take care of a congregation? How can we teach anybody? Right? How can we teach anybody how to do anything? Right? We can't. It's not possible for you to be able to do that. Right? So again, is it a sin to be like, hey, it's none of your business? No, it's not a sin, but it's not smart either. It's not the smartest thing, especially with this mindset that we have grown up with. The world that we live in today, that's not a wise thing to do it that way. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you said that back when we had our land and in the kingdom and things of that nature, right? The women we understood. So it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna land there.
Hey, and at the time, we wouldn't even have to say none of your business anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because the woman already were mindset, hey, I'm here to please my husband and serve the Most High. Well, serve the Most High and please my husband. Let me get that point. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. You have to deal with your wife. Hey, if that's what I mean by being a coward. Hey, it's none of your business what I'm doing. You don't even know how to talk to your wife. So how you gonna want a second wife? Because then guess what? That second wife start adding up, giving you problems. Now you want a third wife? You know what I'm saying? You run into different women because you can't handle the women you have. Right? So let's fix that. Let's clean that up, Israel. Clean that up. Let's not use it as a poking mechanism. All I want to do is be like a dog, a horn dog, and get it in. Got all these women on me, man. I got all the cash, but you ain't doing nothing properly in order. Right? So let's clean that up. All right, let's go to Genesis 29. We're going I need the whole chapter out of this because we want to make sense. Because we want to show exactly what we seen out of that video earlier from the 5 and 24, 5 wives and 24 kids. That was out of order, right? So we want to go into what was out of order when it came to Jacob. This was something that happened out of order. This is one of the reasons why the Bible wants us to be decently in order, right? Start at verse 1.
All right. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 29, verse 1. Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field. And lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. And a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered. And they rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel with her father's sheep, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, and Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother.
You see how Jacob want to show off? Like, hey, let me show her. I'm gonna move this thing. I'm gonna move this thing. Flexing on it. You know, he probably didn't even have a shirt on. He wanted to show his back muscles and everything. He wanted to show off. But you know what? In this verse, I want you to understand what just happened, right? Read verse 11, and we're gonna go right back to 10. Read verse 11.
And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept.
All right, so in 10 and 11, I want you to get an idea, right? This was not love at first sight. This was lust at first sight. Understand, in order to look at a woman, like I'll put myself as an example towards my wife. When I first saw my wife, I didn't say I love her when I first seen her. I loved everything, and I lusted at everything she had that I felt that it was going to fit my needs. It was her face, it was her legs, it was everything from the top to the bottom. And I was like, I want that. I need to see what's up with that. Because I was lusting after that. And then when it came down to the point That's when we built a foundation of love. So there's no such thing as love at first sight. If you say that is true, you're lying to yourself, because then you make that mistake of saying, I should have never married that person because it was all lust. Right. That's what it starts with. It's always lust in the beginning. So guess what? Rachel was lusting after him too. He was moving up. Like, she don't gotta look at him because he was flexing. Sometimes women has a different attraction to a man just because he may be a good helper. Hey, he's a gentleman, right? I like that. I want him. He could be good looking too. Ooh, I like the way he look. Ooh, I like his muscles ripping off and how he moved that rock. He looked like he can protect me. He knew what he was doing. That's why he did it. Look what I could do. I could grab a big old stone by myself. They got help. I'm doing it all by myself. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to make her lust. And what did he first do? He kissed her. Not because he loved her. He found beauty in her and was like making his round of, I want you. Simple as that. Go ahead, read 12.
And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father.
He didn't even know who she was. He didn't even know who she was. That's what lust do. You don't even know who they are. You just do it. Right? Continue.
And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told...
You know what? Jump down. We're going to skip a lot more. So go to 16.
All right, verse 16. And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored.
Right. So we're gonna make Leah look better. You know, the Bible says she was tender-eyed. That doesn't mean that she was ugly. And that doesn't mean also all the time she was cross-eyed, right? Weak-eyed. She just may not look better than Rachel. Like, because one thing we're gonna say, hey, the women of Israel, we dominate any women in the world. Simple as that. I don't care what you bring to the table. You're not beating God's women that God given. You're not beating the women of God that God has given to men. You're not beating it. I don't care what it is. So what we say about Leah was tender-eyed, she was maybe not had the look like Rachel, because it said Leah was tender-eyed, like, yeah, Leah was all right, but Rachel was out cold. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, men do play favoritism when it comes to women. That's just what it is. It's written like that. You know what I'm saying? They do have favoritism. That's why it's a law against it. That's why God had to put it in the law that a man should not have favor over his first wife or his second wife. You have to love them the same.
Hey, pull that up in the blue letter.
Oh, tender.
Tender. Yeah, pull up tender in the blue letter. Because I know we definitely, during feast days, made jokes and said like, oh, you got the ugly mama.
God.
You know what I'm saying? But that's literally what it means, right? Tender, soft, delicate, right? Not weak, like, they just can't lift nothing or don't know nothing, but just real soft spoken, right? You know what I'm saying? You dealing with a woman that don't talk a whole lot. You don't really want to deal with it. you like, But then it's somebody that you actually, you know what I'm saying, they beautiful and they got good conversation. You know what I'm saying? Of course you're going to be more attracted to that. And that's what he wanted with Rachel.
Hey, and just look at it like, hey, she was very, this is why the Most High was blessing her, right? Because she knew the ability to how to take care of a man without even being married. She just understood the ropes of, like, as me being a righteous woman, that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm going to be and take care of my man. So I'm not looking at Leah was busted. There's no way we're going to discuss that. We're not pushing that doctrine out. We're just going to say that what the blue letter said, she was soft spoken. And I'll say, yeah, she was all right. She just didn't look better than Rachel. That's all the Bible is saying. All right, go to 18.
All right, verse 18. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her.
Now he grew love because he'd been around her more. He's starting to love her because he got a relationship with her. But the thing is, what Laban did, Laban, he kind of messed up the whole situation. Laban promised, I won't say he promised, he gave him his word. We can still say a promise. He gave him his word and said, you can have her. And he said, I would do it for 7 years. That's how much he felt like he would work hard to get Rachel. But Laban should have said, like, the order is really, brother, I had to give you Leah first because she's the oldest sister. He should have said that. Instead of doing that, now you played the game of where it became not decently in order. This is why later on in the chapters, they had problems. All right, read verse 20.
Verse 20. And Jacob served 7 years for
You
Rachel.
already read that. All right, so now go to verse 23. Hold on, no, 21.
21. And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her.
Right, so this is talking about the wedding chamber, right? They have to go into the wedding chamber, have to bring cloths to make sure that the woman, this was called the token, right? To make sure that the woman was still a virgin. If she was not a virgin and it showed no type of token, which was blood, she would have been put to death. All right, go ahead, read it.
Hey, and it's important to point out, look how long he waited.
Wow.
Can't wait 30 days.
Can't wait until they say I do, and then already thinking about, oh, the law says I can have another wife too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Verse 22. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her.
All right, so look the trick. So it's supposed to be Rachel, but look what ended up happening. Because in there you don't see nothing. It's dark in there. So you couldn't say like he knew what he was doing and just laid with her. No, they couldn't see them. They were in a chamber. So it says, and it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter. He didn't know that he took Leah. You know, saying also you got to think they probably was lit up,
Yeah, he
drinking
definitely.
up and everything, because they had a feast, right? So then it said he brought it to him and he went unto her, right? Go ahead.
And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for a handmaid.
Right. So he gave Leah Zilpah his maid. So understand what a maid was. A maid was a woman that could have been from another nation or our people, right? But understand this was another nation of a woman, right? Because Zilpah, his maid, we were always had servants. Why? Because we were in rulership. So guess what? A handmaid always was a servant. So therefore, if the man, let's just say Leah couldn't even have a baby, that's what you had a handmaid for that lady to bring forth the baby to Leah if she couldn't have a baby. That's what this was for. Because, hey, it's a beautiful thing when Israel worked together as one. You see these other nations like it ain't no problem with me. I already know I'm down to serve, right? This handmaid was a concubine. She considered to be a concubine, right? We're going to find out what concubine a little bit later. I'm going to tell you what concubine means. So go ahead.
And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me?
Right. Now you tricked me. Now you created a problem. That's where the problem started right there, right? Because Rachel loved him too. She knew it was her wedding day, but guess what? Laban set this up. Let's see what Laban said.
And Laban said, it must not be done so in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn.
Why is that? Because when in that time, if the oldest got married before the young, I mean, if the youngest got married before the older, it looked like it was a shame. So he didn't want to put shame in his house. That's why Laban did that. But understand, you should have been open and been real about that, because now what you did, you created sister and sister hating each other. And for one, this is the law that this was something that should have never been done, because in the law, a man cannot take on another woman's sister to make her jealous. So that law's been broken. That's written in the law, right? Continue.
Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years.
Uh-huh.
And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also.
Uh-huh.
And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid.
And remember what I said earlier, right? If you know the story of what Rachel couldn't bear too many children. At the beginning, she couldn't bear children at all. So later down the story, you see that Rachel used her handmaid to bring in the inheritance for Jacob. See, this is why I said it's nothing when you look at how the pattern that God set it up. It was not to be just walking around with 2 women and acting like you a pimp. It was nation building, right? Because without Bilhah, right? Without Zilpah, it wouldn't be the 12 tribes. It wouldn't be I wouldn't even say, still the 12 tribes, because we know that Ephraim and Manasseh got grafted in, right? From Joseph. But what I'm just saying, it still wouldn't be the 12 tribes, no matter what. That's what God set it up. And it wasn't Bilhah's child. It was Rachel's child. Because that's what they were used for. Because let me give the definition of concubine. I'm gonna have to read it because I can't pull it up. I'm looking in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. What is a concubine, right? So we can understand what a concubine is, right? Let me grab that real quick. All right, concubine. This is in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, page 116. Concubine, a woman lawfully united in marriage to a man in a relation inferior to that of the regular wife. So the wife is over her. This is why she's a concubine, because she has no authority over Rachel or Zilpah. Don't have no authority over Leah. She was just told what she was supposed to do. Same thing as Hagar, right? Sarah couldn't bear a child, but they didn't believe that Yahweh said they will have a child. And guess what? Sarah decided to say, you just go ahead and go into Hagar, because you know why? She wanted her husband to create a legacy. So that's the mindset our people were in. Now today's the women mindset is not thinking that way. If you got a woman that can't bear a child and you say, I want to have a child, you know what she gonna say? Well, it ain't, hey, I can't bring one in to help you out. So, hey, you just gonna deal with it, or we just gonna adopt. And that's the mindset our sisters are in right now. Instead of him want to bring his own legacy in. We don't have that mindset. That's why I have to be very careful trying to get multiple wives and understand what multiple wives were for. It was to help keep the legacy. Wasn't about whoring around being a pimp. It was legacy continuation.
Now you know what they do now. They introduce surrogate, so you don't actually have to sleep with her. She can just get your sperm.
God, absolutely. Which is wicked as hell, right? Let's do things what God told us to do, right? Continue. Where we at right now? So read. All right. So now go to verse 30. Go to 30.
Verse 30. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah.
The law says that we're not supposed to have favor with our wives. That's where Jacob was off at. So Jacob favored Rachel, even though he rightfully chose her, but Laban created this mess. This is why you don't see Rachel and Leah getting along in this, because Laban started this stuff. That's why when you're doing something like that, it needs to be done properly in order. This wasn't in order. Just because we can see it didn't work with Rachel and Leah, because we have to understand it wasn't in order. It doesn't mean that it can't happen now. If you do everything in order and do it right and have the means to do it, it can work. Let's not say it can't work. We don't know how it's developed. We know that the mindset is not right, but we can't say it can't work because we don't know. We just know that if we do it right and you have honest, righteous women that know how to work together, then it can work. But until then, if you don't have honest, righteous women and a righteous men, it won't work. All right, go ahead.
And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren.
Uh-huh.
And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me.
All right, so we ain't gotta read the whole thing right now because I know. Now let's go to chapter 30 real quick. Let's go to the next chapter. All right, so let's start at verse 1.
All right.
Let's see the argument kicking in.
Genesis chapter 30 and verse 1. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister.
There we go. Now it's a problem going on in the house. Go ahead.
And said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die.
She being dramatic. You don't give me no child, I'm going to die. Being dramatic. But be careful. Take these stories as what they are. You know what I'm saying? Because these little things that you start feeling some kind of way become dramatic. Women can get dramatic. Because you know why? Rachel feels territorial. This is my man. It was never supposed to be you, Leah. Because that's one thing about a woman. She's very territorial when it comes to her man. And rightfully so. But she has to understand the balance. You know what I'm saying? God is all about balance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was unbalanced. That's why it's not working. Continue.
And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel.
He put his foot down. Like, you tripping. Talking about you gonna die.
And he said, Am I in God's stead, who hath withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?
He said, Is it my fault you can't get pregnant? This ain't got nothing to do with me. Right? Continue.
And she said, Behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her.
What'd she say?
Go in unto her.
Even though she was exaggerating, but she still wanted a child. Rather, if she couldn't get it, she wanted from her maid. If you really look at the story, you only see Rachel and Leah fighting. Zilpah and Bilhah never fought. They didn't even argue. You know why? Because they knew their position. How are we going to let the other nations do better than us? How are we going to allow that to rock? Because you know why? When Israel does things out of the God's commandments, we do things rocky. So you got a rocky home. And you really notice that every time they're arguing, Jacob is always gone. He out there working, he doing something. Rachel and Leah can't get along, but Jacob's nowhere to be found. Only you see him here when he's being found. And he knows that because Rachel is mad at him. She blames him. Go ahead.
And in competition.
Absolutely.
Like it's a sport.
It says, hey, women is competitive, man. Don't play with they man. They get competitive, bruh. You looking at them, hey, even if you glance at them, they already call that women intuition. I see what you doing.
That's bull crap.
Playing with your mind. Hey, that's that Greek mindset, man.
Wow.
God.
All right. In what, verse 4?
Yeah.
And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I just want to point something out, right? Because clearly in verse 4 it says, I'm going to read that again. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went in unto her, right? So that just goes back to earlier, the point where the sister Rose had asked. Like she said, some brother said it ain't your business. Hey, Rachel made it her business. right here. So apparently it is the wife's business concerning another wife. Just want to point that out.
Absolutely.
Verse, well, I'm at 6.
Go to straight to 6. Go ahead.
All right, verse 6. And Rachel said, God hath judged me and hath also heard my voice, and hath given me a son. Therefore she shall call his name Dan.
All right, so we ain't got to go through the list, right? So let me go through a little bit real quick. Let's go right here. Start at verse 13 and 14. Watch this.
All right, verse 13. And Leah said, Happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher.
Now she's just saying that because Leah knew that she wasn't getting that kind of attention from Jacob. So she was always praying to the Most High to bring forth children. If you understand, see how that was set up, Leah, like it said, tender-eyed, she was soft-spoken, she was patient with her husband, and she knew how to deal with the Most High. So Rachel, you don't see in the script that she was praying and said, God, bring me a baby. She already blaming Jacob that she can't get pregnant because she wasn't doing things in order. See, we got to do things properly in order things to work, even though this is Laban's fault. But when we take matters of our own mind and we don't do and consider calling on the Most High, then this is why we got to wait and behold on the process, right? So now read 14 and 15, and then we're going to go somewhere else.
And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes.
What that got to do with you? This is yours. This is her son, and she's trying to make rule and authority because jealousy play. This is all about competition. So every time when Jacob was going into Leah, Rachel was heated when she found out I'm pregnant. Just imagine, this is your nephews. You ain't even happy for it. You like pissed off. How come I can't get pregnant? These are your nephews. See, this is wrong. This is why you know these are Israelites. These are Israelite women.
There's your nephew and you the stepmom.
God, you said going to Bilhah, my handmaid. You still ain't satisfied.
It's gonna be like that skit. It's some brothers, I forgot their name, but that's her son few.
God, son few. God.
Sorry, now let's go. Verse 15, it says, And he said unto her, It is a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest take away my son's mandrakes also.
See, but you didn't say your father set this up. But understand, she's right though. She should be mad at her father, not at Leah. Leah didn't listen. Hey, hold on. Let me just say this. Leah just following commands. Now, Leah could have did what she could have said, like, nah, I'm not doing that. She could have did that. So let's not say Leah just 100%, you know what I'm saying, then think it over and say, like, this is my sister. Let's really be logical with it. She could have been like, you know, I can't, you know, hey, Jacob, this is not Rachel. This is Leah. But, you know, Leah, you could tell that they were Leah could have been far away, competitive, jealous. Like, how's my little sister about to get married before me? That could have happened. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm just looking at patterns what women do, man. She could at least said, no, I'm not Rachel. But she went on with it. But she also was being obedient to her father. And she understood what the law is. So, hey, I wouldn't say she was wrong. She was doing what her father told her to do. All right. But go ahead.
And Rachel said, Therefore, he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes.
Now she making deals. Like, if you give me the mandrakes, you can lie with my husband. Hey, that's your husband. That's his husband too. That's her husband too. What is you talking about? I lie with him when I want to lie with him. you gonna call the shots?
Pimping
and I'm
out
the oldest sister.
Pimping out Jacob.
God. All right, we're gonna leave it right there. Right? So now, let me bring out another video, right? So now we're gonna look at the black couples, right? We got black couples that went into polygamy, right? So let's watch this video real quick. We're gonna walk all the way to 3 minutes with this.
Started this polyunion together as 3 individuals.
We are all heterosexual.
He's everything that I look for in a husband.
However, they are sister wives.
Best friends, sisters, family.
See, hey, that kind of mindset, that attitude, that's why I said we can't bypass and say that don't work. But look how they are getting along. Not saying they doing it for the cameras only, but hey, let's just say, hey, just look at the picture of it, right? Go ahead.
This accusation that they are brainwashed, we get it often. Someone actually sent a comment yesterday to Jamie saying, listen, Jamie, you are beautiful, but he does not love you. Why don't you just leave?
See, that's what helps. Social media would destroy a multiple wife relationship. Remember, the Bible says, "Do not let no one put the I'm butchering it, and let no one put asunder." Right? Means separate and divorce. That's what social media would do. They're putting their 2 cents and don't know what's really going on. Right? So we got to stay away from that because Israel's some haters. Just because you ain't doing it, and I bet you the same one that's typing it probably want his wife. That's all. Want her to break up with him so he can jump on, or vice versa. She want the husband. She want a part of that.
That's what he said. He said that they said inboxes said you too beautiful for that.
See, that's game. Israel, boy, thou shalt not have covetousness.
Some people look at it and say, you're exploiting your children.
So how did you feel when you first found out about Lacey coming into your life?
Hey, that matters. The children matters too. So because you can bring forth confusion to the household. It's good to get involved with the children so they know what's going on. But that's not the case on here. But I'm just bringing that up.
My name is Kevin Wesley. This is my beautiful wife, Jamie. This is my beautiful wife, Lacey.
Honestly, I'm gonna just tell you, that's a beautiful picture, man. I'm gonna just tell you straight up. When we seen the doubles, they looked horrible. They look all out of order and sloppy, dirty looking. But you see us, man, we well put together. Like if it's done decently in order, right? That's a beautiful thing when they can work together and know their place. It's beautiful.
We call ourselves the Rise family.
Rise and shine, beautiful souls.
Mondays and Tuesdays, Jamie and I spend time together. Of course, we sleep together on those days. Lacey and I spend time together on Wednesday, Thursday.
Damn, that's good. It's so light.
That's really good.
And then
that's he has it set up in an order, right? You just can't bring a woman in and just say, this is what we're doing. He set up a schedule, right? This is an order. Rather if he's in the truth or not. You still got to have some type of order. All right, go ahead.
Friday to Sunday, we alternate.
We have so much in common. We love doing pretty much the same thing. We have the same thoughts and everything. We be like, each other's sentences, and all we have to do is look at each other and we be like, yep.
That's what it needs to start. You need to first bring the woman and the woman to build a relationship. That's how that can work. Because if one woman is on board but the other woman's not, it's not going to work. But like they said, they share the same thoughts. Why? Because they all one mind. They're one family. They're one family. Why? Because they with one man, and it becomes a beautiful thing. And they're working together, learning how to deal with one another. It saves a lot of, to be honest with you, it saves a lot of daycares. You're saving money, saving daycares. That's what you got to look at the good side of it. Hey, one ain't working as all hard. When you got one woman saying, I do all the cleaning, I do the cooking, I do this. He don't do nothing but go to work and go chill. He don't do none of this stuff. But then if you had a second woman in the house that was helping, it eliminates the oppression in certain ways. But when your mind ain't right, it's going to make the oppression even worse. So let's continue.
Jamie and I got married super duper young.
We had children early.
We were together for about 14 years, and then we separated about 5 years ago. And during that time, I was dating and things like that. Lacey and I met online.
I knew exactly who he was and was actually a fan of his work.
Rise and shine, beautiful souls.
I use my platforms to teach and enlighten the world.
Raise your vibration, raise your energy.
And we just kind of been like glue ever since. I have not previously had a poly relationship.
Breakfast will be done in a minute. We'll let you know when it's done.
No problem.
I wasn't sure if I could come in behind another woman, but Kevin was separated, so I got to meet him as an individual, not as a pair. I got to fall in love with him on my own.
Y'all ready to eat?
So we started this poly union as 3 individuals, and me not having biological children, I was just like, yes, those are the type of children I wanted.
Rise and shine, beautiful souls. Rise and shine, beautiful souls. So listen.
Wow.
Most ridiculous question is, y'all must lack self-love. I want
We experience judgment in all.
Faster than I did.
So how did you feel when you first found out about Lacey coming into your life?
I was nervous. I didn't really social interaction, you know. But I've gotten used to her over the months.
When I found out about Lacey, I was fine with it. Having someone new around the house, a little uncomfortable, but nothing stood out.
I had this friend come over, and like he didn't really like understand. So I was trying to tell him that there's my mom and then my dad and there's Lacey. I don't know if he got it, but
there are a lot of positives and negatives about having a third parental figure, but it wasn't really an issue for us. We were all very independent before, and we're very independent now.
Would you see yourself in a polygamous relationship at some point in your life?
I probably wouldn't, because I prefer monogamy.
Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. So, hey, with men that has multiple wives, you shouldn't say, hey, you should try it. No, this is what God ordained. Marriage is honorable. Rather, if you got one or two, it's still honorable. Because think about Yahweh and the bride, right? When it talks about in the Bible that have one wife, right? When it talks about that, that's just talking about a community. That's just talking about a one mind and one flesh of a unity with the man and a woman. That doesn't mean that he's talking about you got to have one woman only. Hey, when you have another wife, y'all become one-minded. Whether you got 2, 3, or 4, y'all one-minded. And don't show that it's an adultery move or a fornication move as long as you take care of them.
for me, I would rather just have like one person to myself.
You know why? Because it's sometimes when he probably see the headache. He sees the headache, so they're not gonna show everything that they pushing. Hey, if it was that great, he'd be like, yeah, I want 2 wives. He said, me, I'm gonna do it 1 wife. Because he sees some things.
So Monday, Tuesday, Jamie, do you have anything you want to do on those days?
I was thinking of a fun day.
You know, those 2 days is your world. So
I know.
Hey, look at the one on the left. Look at her face. I'm just saying, if words could talk, man, her face could talk. She talk about, hey, what we gonna do? She's happy. She looking like, she don't look all that happy about here right here, man. She looking, but she, the camera's on. She forgot the camera's on. Let me continue.
People ask, do you deal with jealousy? Absolutely.
Kev gives Jamie flowers. I might look and go, where are my flowers? Then I have
There it is. Where my flowers at? Hey, that's what happens when you got to deal. I'm gonna stop it right there. You want to play the whole thing. That's what happens, right? You got to understand. You got to deal with that. You get the good and the bad and the ugly. But you as a man have to know how to order that and put it right. What the Bible says, how can you rule a congregation and you can't rule your own home? You can't do it. So understand, be patient with these women. Don't be all like, shut up crying all the time. That don't make it work. Why you mad at me? We already know what we're supposed to do. You got the schedule. Can't do that. You gotta work with it. You put yourself in this, right? So now, let's go to Exodus 1 real quick, right? Go to Exodus 1 because I want to go into this because we're gonna talk about what Pharaoh tried to do, right? Pharaoh's game plan was to stop the population of Israel, right? So let me get Exodus chapter 1, start at verse 7.
All right. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1, starting at verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Right. So that doesn't mean that all of them have multiple wives. It just said that, hey, we know that that's part of the law that men did have it, right? So you had some in Egypt had it, and then some of them didn't. We was just continuing to grow, right? Continue.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
All
And
right,
he
go to
said,
10. Just go straight to 10. We can
all right,
understand what's going on.
verse 10, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
All right, so go read a little bit right here. Just read this portion right here.
It says, therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens.
All right, so go to 12. Read the whole thing right 12.
All right, verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
13.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor.
All right, stop there. So understand what we read earlier, that they were also back then with Woodruff, that president wanted to slow down the multiple wives thing because they understand that we as a people would have been doing it. So we want to bring nothing new under the sun. Even in the Bible, Pharaoh looked and said, wow, there's a lot of them. We got to find and stop that. We got to get them so much work that they can't even think about having sex. Let's separate that thing, right? So let's do a quick fact check real quick. I'm going to bring this article out right here. If anybody heard of Margaret Sanger, and if you haven't, you're going to find out of her today. This is Margaret Sanger. I'm going to read this quick about it. It's a fact check. Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger's 1939 quote on exterminating black population taken out of context. So they're saying what she said is taken out of context. She's lying, but we're going to find out what she said because we know this ain't out of context. It says, the Reuters Daily, briefing newsletter provides all the news you needed to start your day. The quote reads, we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. So how did that take that out of context? We ain't gonna say nothing that we about to destroy the Negro population. Why? Because when we grow and we multiply, that means we become stronger as a nation. So guess what? Let's lie to them and westernize their mind so they can't populate, so they can't have multiple wives and bring in more children and nation build. And let us make sure that they can't even stand one another so they can even have one marriage. That's what she was doing. So when they do have sex, let's go ahead and tell them that, hey, you're so poor, we're going to work you to death. You ain't going to have time to spend time with your children. You ain't going to have enough to spend the money for your children. So you might as well just exterminate it. That was the plan. So guess what? Our black people, these are the two favorite presidents that our black people voted for. Watch this. It says some versions of the post include posts of Hillary Clinton, the former U.S. president, Barack Obama, complimenting Sanger. Let's see what they say. Let me click here. Right? Let's start here. What do it say? This is what Hillary Clinton says. This is what this doggone beast said. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And look what she said. That people wanted to bring her in because they hated Trump so much. I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. I am really in awe of her. Wow. That's how your president thinks. That's what your president thinks, right? So now let's go back. Let's go back. So let's see what the man, right? Baraka. Let's go see what Baraka. Let's see what he say, right? This is what Barack says. Now, read some of the Margaret Sanger's statements regarding reducing the black population. If you don't believe her statement quoted below, talk about systematic racism or government funding Planned Parenthood is systematic racism. Still today, many of their clinics are located convenient to black neighborhoods and a higher percentage of black babies are aborted. Now listen what Barack says. Now we are at one of those rare moments where we can actually transform our politics in a fundamental way. But it's going to take a people as result as Miss Sanger. Wow. So this is what we be voting for. We vote for people like that. Right? We vote for people like that, right? Off. Right? So we're going to close that right there. All right? So now, Let me get into some more scriptures real quick. I'm gonna make this real quick. Give me Zephaniah 2:1. No, not Zephaniah 2:1. I don't want that. Let's get Isaiah 4:1. Yeah, Isaiah 4:1. We are definitely almost done.
Okay. All right. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1.
Now understand, this can be double prophecy, right? This can be meaning in any kind of way. We got to understand how this operates, right? Understand that, hey, right now Israel is in trouble, right? So we got women walking around here with no heads. We got women walking around here, no security. We got women out here with not even in a camp. And we got a lot of babies. Remember what Yahweh Shai says, woe to the women that's giving suck, right? Because there's no secure. You're like a loose woman out there in the opening, ready to be kidnapped into the world, right? So, but understand, this is what makes this is what makes the whole thing be beautiful. Read it.
All right. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
Right. So these women are agreeing, like, I want to be with a man. Not that we don't want to say that, right? So you got 7 women just willing to go ahead and say, I don't care what it looks like. I just want some security, right? I want to be loved. I want to be important, because it was important for a woman to be under a king. It was a beautiful thing. It was very important. It was weird when a woman was not married. That's what was weird in our custom back then. Now what's weird is when a man has another wife. Now that become weird. Right? Continue.
And that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion.
The mindset, the westernized mindset. So guess what? Don't just use the scripture to say, see, it ain't time. But guess what? Some of the women mind are not built right now. You know, since some of the mind understand, some of the women have a mindset that says nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? So don't knock a sister if she wants to do that with another man. Don't knock that, because that's calling being a hater. You ain't got to do all that. If we know it's according to the law, don't be a hater. Just be like, oh, okay, that's what you want to do. That's what you do then. Tell me how it works. Because I'm waiting to the kingdom. And there's nothing wrong with that if you wanted to do that. And there's nothing wrong if you don't want to do it. God never said that it's a law you have to do it. It was made for a man to do it if he wanted to. That's all.
I hate to see it if he did force it.
God, exactly. Exactly. Go ahead.
Verse 4. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning.
All right. So now let me get Deuteronomy 21. Right. Let's go to Deuteronomy 21. And we're going to start at verse 15. All right. So they're going to see in the law, right? We're going to see clear as day what the law says that a man can do. But it's a law to this, right? Let's go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 15. If a man have 2 wives.
No, 1 wife.
2 wives.
The Bible didn't say 2 wives, because that's under the law. That's against the law itself. What did it say?
If a man have 2 wives. One beloved and another hated. It's Leah and Rachel. And they have borne him children, both of the beloved and the hated. And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then shall it be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn.
Right. So you had to be fair. See, the Most High is about fair and balance. You can't have it your way. Hey, I'm not going to bless this son because I don't like this. I don't like the woman. So I don't want to give her the inheritance, because that's what it was about, passing down the inheritance. No, he's the firstborn son. You go ahead and give him the inheritance. Because the Most High knew that after you had passed away, these women would have been fighting. It still would be no peace. So we have to do it, everything done and decently in order. Go ahead.
Verse 17. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath. For he is the beginning of his strength, the
He's
right
the beginning of his what?
of his strength.
Right, because he's the first one that's going to bring your generation. He's the starting point of your generation. Right? Go ahead.
The right of the firstborn is his.
Right. So now let's go to Exodus 21 real quick, right? So this is going into another aspect, right? 21, and let me see where I want to start off. Let me see. Right? Because this is talking about a servant, right? We're going to talk about a servant. Right. So let's start at verse 8. Hold on. No, start at 7.
Might want to go up a little more.
Hold on. No, I don't want that. No. I want to go down. No, just start at verse 7. Let's start at verse 7 because the time is the essence.
All right. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 7.
So understand before we go any further, I would just break it to paraphrase. This is talking about a man selling his daughter. We understand this. They were doing this in the law because of it was financial reasons. So let's clean that up. He wasn't like, hey, whoring her out. It was financial reasons. So God already told us that we couldn't sell ourselves to the other nations and make money. This was because financial reasons. And if she was at that age, it was like, hey, go ahead, take care of my daughter. Because why? It was because if a man took a man's daughter, he had to pay dowry. That's all it was. So he was trying to make money off of it. But he put her to a righteous man. That's all it was. All right, go ahead.
All right, the book of Exodus, chapter 21, and verse 7. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do.
Why? Because the man can work for 6 years, and in the 7th year, he had to be released. So go ahead.
If she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself.
Not saying that he had sex with her. It was just more of in a way that she was kind of lazy. She didn't really do her job. That's what that's talking about. And betrothed means being engaged. He made a vow to take care of her. Go ahead.
Then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
Why he had to deal with the manner of daughters? Because if that man sleeps with her, that becomes one flesh, and that becomes his daughter. So that be his son sleeping with her. Now he becomes his daughter. He can't look at her as, that was my girl. That's your daughter. Go ahead.
And if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
Right. If he take another wife, right? If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall be not diminished. Understand this word wife is just a word that's just stating of a concubine. That's all it is. Because understand this. If he take him because she's a servant. So now if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall be not diminished. He has to still take care of her just like he took care of the first wife. You couldn't have favoritism. So that's what the law is. If you had 2 wives, you have to take care of both of them. Their food, their clothes, and the whole duty of marriage. Meaning you have to be the protector, you have to be secure to her, everything. So shall he not diminish. Meaning that he don't stop the duties of it. He has to continue on, right? And this is why you know this is talking about a concubine. Read verse 11.
And if he do not these 3 unto her, then shall she go out free without money.
Right, because she was a servant. So with a wife, you're not supposed to divorce. You can't let her go. A concubine is a woman that has low status. She doesn't have a higher status. So that means what she can do, she can bring forth a child for you. But guess what? She can get the gifts, but she don't get the inheritance. That's what that is, right? So, as that been said, I'm gonna lock it right there, right? But I want to say this. I definitely want to say this. Hey, this is not about women bashing. This has nothing to do with that. This is all about keeping everything directly in order. So don't go and say like, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong. Understand why God purpose it was. It was to create the nation and to secure legacy. That's all it was. That's why it's a beautiful thing. But right now, if you don't have the means and you don't have the leadership to do that, don't do it. And I'm not telling you that LOI, go ahead and start looking for another wife. No, I'm not saying that. In the midst of it, be patient. Stay with your one wife, what you have now. Because there's already a problem when we got to work with one at a time. We are a problem to them. They're a problem to us at times. So we have to learn how to work the kinks out while we can. But hey, brothers and sisters, brothers, if you want to do that, hey, do it in decently in order. And other than that, I'm going to land it and I'm going to end it with a video. But the back, you got anything?
Real quick, 1 Corinthians chapter 10.
Okay, come. I have more. I just didn't want to go over the time. I was going to go in more detail. I didn't have this though, so. But I have more. I didn't want to. I know the time is the essence. I want to keep everybody up. I just had a lot to say. All right, verse 10 and what?
Just verse 23.
All right. Oh, shit. Let me scroll down. I was moving slow. All right, here we go. It's the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10 and verse 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, all things edify me.
All right. I'm not going to even expound on it. You know, I think they get the point. It's not important, right? It's not an important matter if you do or don't. But go ahead.
So, hey, I hope this was edifying. This has nothing to do with, hey, women, just get over it. None of that. What it is it's talking to both parties, men and the women. When you're going to do this, make sure you men do it decently in order. That's all I'm asking. Do everything decently in order. Don't do things in irrational decisions and emotional decisions, right? Like the brother just brought out. Everything is not expedient. Everything ain't gotta be quick. Take your time. Know what you're getting yourself into, right? Because understand this is work. Married to one person is work, and having children with work. But you taking on another wife, that's even more work. And a lot of that stuff, like, you know what? Before I do this, let me break this down. Give me Deuteronomy 17:17 because I want to clear this up. I want to clear this up because I don't want you sisters to look at this or brothers don't have an understanding what this means right? Because this means something right here. Let me pull it up and share my screen real quick because this can be contradicting if you don't know scriptures. All right, read Deuteronomy 17:17.
All right, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter
Hold on,
17.
start at verse 15 so we can understand what this is going into.
Chapter 17. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
Now here we go. I want you brothers and sisters, hey, and this goes into a lot of the teachers, right? Understand this. If someone come to you and they say this, let's get an understanding. Go ahead.
Says, neither shall he multiply wives to himself.
So you know they say in the Israelite community we're women bashers. So we talking about we can have multiple wives, but Deuteronomy 17:17 says, neither shall he multiply wives to himself. Go ahead.
That his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
All right. So key thing, right? Let's go to verse 16. It says, but he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt. Let's stick to that key point. Egypt, right? Because what were Egypt doing? They were doing everything that has to do with idolatry. So now, as a king, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart, this is the key thing, that his heart not turn away. Neither shall he greatly multiply himself silver and gold. Now, let's clean this up real quick, right? So now, let's get Deuteronomy 7. Let's go back. Let's go back. Give me Deuteronomy 7, because we want to see what it means that the heart will turn away. Is God saying that if you have multiple wives, then you're going to turn your heart away from them? No. Let's start at verse 2. No, you know what? You can start at 1 all the way. You know what? No, you ain't got to do it. We're going to make it quick, because this is talk about the other nations right here, right? No, just start at 1. Go ahead. Let's go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto
my bad.
unto thy son, and nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
But why?
For they will turn away thy son from following me. They may serve other gods.
So he was talking about the other nations. Don't take wives of the other nations, and they're going to make you serve other gods. That's who done it, right? So remember, the Bible said David was a man after God's heart. Let's see how many wives David had, right? If this was a sin, right? Let's read that. Read the AI preview real quick, bro.
All right, says King David had at least 8 wives.
Yeah, how many?
8 wives.
Wow, okay, but he's a king. So we know that if God never convicted David for having 8 wives, then we have to understand what Deuteronomy 17:17 is talking about, right? And we ain't even got to go through all that, right? So now let's go to 1 Kings 11, right? Let's go to 1 Kings 11. Let's prove that point, right? I want to go there because this is another man that had multiple wives. Give me verse 1 in 1 Kings 11.
All right, the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women.
There you go. He loved many strange women. Go ahead.
Together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in unto them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart.
There it is. They turn away your hearts. Go ahead.
Turn away your hearts after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love.
He clave into these other nations when he got old age. Right? So go ahead, read 11 and 3.
And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines.
These are servants. These are the other nations, because another nation cannot be a wife. They can't be your main. They can't be your main setup. That's why God made the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes of the women could be your wife, but the other nations could not be your wife. There were concubines. Go ahead.
And his wives turned away his heart.
You know why their wives turned away his heart? Because you had those concubines around them, and they were following after the other nations. We can't. That's why we got to separate ourselves from them, because they will make you turn away your heart. Read verse 4.
For it came to pass when Solomon was old,
When he was old,
that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
so it wasn't the multiple wives thing that turned away Solomon. It was because he built up those temples. When you read in verse 5, he tells you what he did, and that's why God was disappointed in that. So it wasn't about the multiple wives. It wasn't. It was all about the concubines, where he allowed them to destroy his mind when he got up old. That's why they did it, because when he was young, he was on point. But when he got old, that's when they wanted to go ahead and take advantage of it. So I just wanted to share that for a minute. I just want to say that quick. I just want to tell everybody, I hope this was edifying.
Definitely was.
And all praise to the Most High God, because this is the Most High God's work. It has nothing to do with me. I would never take any credit from the Most High. I just want to give credit to him. I want to give shout outs to all the brothers, man, from Ara to Palaya, going back with the APM on Tuesdays, going on Wednesdays. You have Elder Zahab doing the class. You also have Thursday, Brother Micah Allah. Shout out to that brother. Also, you got us on Fridays, and plus you got priests on Saturdays, and then on Sundays we have Elder Karab. So continue to listen and be informed, because hey, the Most High working with Israel right now. You got anything to buy?
Man, 12 class, man, definitely was dope. You know what I'm saying? Especially the way you started it out too. All praise to the Most High, man.
All praise to the Most High. So we're gonna finish it off too, right? We're gonna finish it off, and I got another video, and we're gonna close it out with the video. All right. So let me get that going real quick. If I can get this, I hate how this does this, because it's not letting me blow it up. But if I can blow this up, because I can't rewind it. So just bear with me. I'm gonna let this video go in, let it finish, and then I'm gonna play it so we can close it out, right? Because at the end of the day, this is all about us being edified and not taking it any kind of way. I want you to hear a woman perspective. Just give me 1 second. All right, here we go. I'm going to play it. Let me share my screen. We'll definitely close it out from this. All praise to the Most High.
And I don't want to hear, what about the woman? What about the woman? It's not the same. Men spread the legacy. It's totally different. So women, do not compare yourself to the men. It's totally different. Take it how you want to take it, but I have no regrets of what I said. Let's make this a universal thing where men have more than one wife. Okay? Okay. Men need multiple.
After that, ladies and gentlemen, I say shalom.
Shalom, y'all.
No fame or fortune, no riches untold. I'd rather have iron than silver and gold. But just give me a savior, my life he can hold. Oh, I'd rather have iron than silver and gold.
Look how far the Lord brought him. I'm still in awe, cause look at how all them laws taught him. I should be upstate fit and going into the autumn. I needed salvation from self, all praises the Lord saw him. Now I'm moving different like my man Ace. I'm good now cause I can finally understand grace. I'm staying down, it don't matter how long the plan takes. My hands to the plow, it's only right that I landscape. I'm not concerned what a man makes. I'm full speed on this road in this vehicle, got no handbrakes. It's a rocky road and takes skill. skills. I pray your Howard Shy never let go of the wheel. That's what I call cruise control. Cause without them you can lose control until you lose your soul. Instead of chasing paper, try to make the fold. That's why I'd rather have your Howard than my way to go. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No riches untold. I'd rather have my blood than silver and gold. But just give me a savior. My life he can hold. I'd rather have my blood than silver and gold.
I'd rather have your Howard Shy. That's the only name I think of when I prophesy. Now look at I, when they come to my peers, I put my pride aside and put the most high over things I used to idolize. Money, women, the S550s. Used to drive Chef in a frenzy. Look how I was forming all them wicked and weapons that was against me. But Most High came and he rinsed me immensely. Now I'm lifting my hands in a grateful way to the hills where my help come from day to day. That's the source of my strength, I'm not ashamed to say. Look how you took my crooked paths and you made them straight. Alpha and Omega, far from a dog. I'm on fire like the summer, far from the fall. If there ever was a problem, you the proper call. I choose Abba cause I know this kingdom got to fall. Y'all.
Riches untold. I'd rather have my blood than silver and gold. But just give me a savior. My life he can hold. I'd rather have my blood than silver and gold.
I'd rather have Abba. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I'd rather have Abba. I'd rather have Abba.